Hi, I'm Pam,
I'm Barry.
and this is the Mixed Review, where we do movie commentaries and mix in social issues. Our next movie was Spy.
In The Spy, we have basically it's a takeoff of 007 and Ian Fleming's franchise, but they decided to put a little twist on it with using the CIA rather than MI6, and of course MI6 showed up in this. Um, and they also used a few British actors to complement the cast, I guess you could say. In this movie, it was mostly focused around a female CIA agent, spy, who had to go track down a nuclear weapon.
This is another movie from Melissa McCartney. She's done a lot of comedic movies. She's best known for Bridesmaids. She's done movies like Tammy and a couple others where she's always a comedic heroine in a way. And she did the same thing in this movie, except for this movie, it was mostly action with comedy, which was really different for her. The things we liked. What are some of the things that you liked about the movie?
Well, let's see. There was there was some good comedy in this movie, although spoiler alert and also mature audience alert. There are some split-second scenes that are a little more than adult material.
Yes, to put
So
it lightly.
please be aware. Um, Pacing was good. The comedy was good. Excuse me. What did you like?
I like the fact that it kept my attention the entire time. A lot of things that we see with comedies is there's one funny part, then a lot of dead air, then another funny part, then a lot of dead air, or all the stuff that's in the trailer was funny in the movie. But this film was beyond that because it went past the trailer. There were a lot of funny things that kept your interest, and it was really consistently funny. A lot of one-liners, but they actually worked in this film, unlike in the
Mhm.
last one we saw.
Yep, yep. Okay. What would you change, or what would you have changed?
The only thing I would have think about changing is the unknown actors. Sometimes casting an unknown actor, you don't know them, so you don't care about them. In this film, it was okay. There were a couple British actors in the film that you didn't know, but because they were so good at the acting part, you did care for them. But it can be risky to cast unknowns, if that's what you've seen in other films. But I don't think I would have changed anything. I thought it was pretty well cast and well directed and very well produced.
Okay. Okay.
What did you change?
Well, again, we have that. We've been talking. She and I have been talking about this for a while now. We have that um, pro-feminist movement again,
Yes.
and it is women all powerful. We're just as good as men, if not better, and we're going to put some style in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, we're a little tired of that.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of over it. It's time for Hollywood to move on. Let's see
Mm-hmm.
what else.
When they added the pro-feminist movie, it made it move. It was more unrealistic because Melissa McCartney is a bigger gal, just like me, and her doing all these action sequences, there's just no way.
Well, it makes the storyline and the characters a little more unbelievable. And we're trying to believe the characters. Yes, I understand it's a comedy. And it was meant to be a comedy.
But it
And
still has to be relatable. I completely agree with that. I think you're absolutely right. You don't believe the characters, makes it hard to sympathize with them. With the comedy, I think it's more important that we relate to the characters as real people instead of just caricatures because they're supposed to be funny people, not just
right,
animated people. That makes
right.
sense.
Now, they did hold to the storyline pretty good as far as the spy thing, the
Yes,
007
they did.
theory or theme.
Hmm.
And um, since we're headed this direction, how about we get into the character, to the actual actors?
Okay,
And
you first.
Jude, are you trying for 007? Is that what you're trying to do here?
Yeah.
Jason, Jason Statham, usually an action character, he actually held his own pretty well in
Yes.
this. He held his lines really well. He held the badass character really well. Yep, sorry if that offends anybody.
Besides me. Okay.
Sorry,
uh,
but and I'm not saying that Jude was a bad actor. He was actually pretty good in this.
he's really good.
And so was Jason. And So is our female lead. There's one other actress I'd like to mention, and that was the director. She played in The West Wing, Allison Janney, who really pulled off her part really, really well, I thought. If we needed somebody who was stern and direct and tried to keep things level-headed, she definitely played that part really well. I'm hoping that Hollywood isn't typecasting her because I'm sure she has a lot more talent. We're just waiting to see it.
Okay, for my view on the actors, I thought Jason, what's his last name?
Statham.
Statham did a very good job of being funny. He reminded me a lot of Mark Wahlberg and The Other Guys, who's another Simon Pegg film, and he also has the movie. And Melissa McCartney was classic her. There was not really a big difference in her character, except there's a lot of action, but that was also a body double, so it was really believable. But her acting in her comedic role is consistent, and she still is typecast. Um, Jude Law is really talented. He's been in a lot of films. I've never seen him in this kind of comedy before. He was in a comedy, but he wasn't of the comedy. He kind of was a straight character playing the 007 type role consistently that happened to have comedy around him, which I thought even made it more funny. He kind of played it straight. Um,
But he wasn't in this picture for very much. He showed up at the beginning and again showed up at the end.
mhm. So, but I thought it was still pretty good.
Yeah.
The unknown characters, I don't know their names. Melissa's sidekick, she was funny, but I didn't know her, so I didn't really care about her. Another character that's a really good actress. Her name is Rose Byrne or Brine. She played in the Insidious series.
Mhm.
She was also in Bridesmaids, and she's more of a serious actor. Even though she's been in comedies, she's more of the straight-laced character in the comedy, just like Jude Law. So that was something that I liked to see. It wasn't all just slapstick characters. There was a lot of characters in the film with different ranges of skill and and acting. So that was really good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Overall, I'd give this, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd definitely give this about an 8.
Wow, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I agree with them. I would say 8. The only for me it'd be 7.5 to 8 because the swearing was a lot, and
And
if
then,
there was a lot of swearing, there was a
well,
lot of swearing.
okay.
Yes, there was. Whatever, there was.
And
So
there are a couple of nude shots in there, and there are some frontal nudity in there, male
couple
frontal
male
nudity.
frontal nudity. So
And in Hollywood, that's considered the big no-no.
yeah, and I don't know any movie that we've ever seen that didn't have swearing in it, but people aren't really used to it. It's still
Well,
something that kind of shocks them when they hear it. So I guess I'm one of those people.
but if it had been a woman that was fully nude,
Oh,
frontal
we would have
nudity,
had.
nobody would have said
Yeah,
anything.
that's true.
I don't understand
Double
what
standard.
the problem is there, but okay,
Mm.
whatever.
Okay. I can stop it 'cause that's not what I'm gonna say. I want to talk about Melissa McCartney in the lead role. She was very, very, very good. There were some critiques that I mentioned earlier. One thing that I wanted to mention is that her being a fat girl or a big girl, usually they're portrayed as stupid and bumbling and clumsy. They did her complete justice by showing her smart, cunning, can figure things out, a real spy mind, not just she just falls into accidentally solves a case. She actually does research and she's good at her job, which I really appreciate that.
As far as character goes, yep, she was really good at her job. One thing I'd like to talk about as far as her acting goes is that she was able to portray different people within this movie because that was a part of her job.
Mm-hmm.
She had to take on totally different personas,
Mm-hmm.
and that can be a bit of a challenge for some actors. And for her, she pulled it off really, really well.
Mhm. One other thing I wanted to mention was the cinematography. For a comedy, you usually don't care about it because it's just about the funny characters acting silly. But in this film, it was really done like a spy movie that happened to be comedic, and I really like that. That's something that you usually don't see when it comes to comedies, and I wish more directors would take cues from that and stop focusing on caricatures and making real characters that happen to be funny instead of funny characters. If that makes sense.
Okay,
So.
okay.
Well, that's our review of the movie Spy. I think we both recommend that you see it, and we hope you join us next time for our next movie review. Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.